good to see the energy with which you were answering the questions that Sejal posted. And thank you for the introduction. I can probably just start now with the. I can share my screen. Let me know once it is up.
Sure, ma'am.
Is it up?
Yes, yes, it's visible now.
Okay, cool. So I think like Priyanshi was asking, what is your idea of consulting? So this session is all about that. Like, what do we mean by consulting? Going one step beyond. So I was actually gonna ask, what do you think about consulting? And you guys have already answered, and you're pretty much close to it. I mean, solving problems, so and so on. So this session primarily entails to talk about what consulting is, how's the life of consultant, what's good about consulting, what's not so good about consulting, and so on. So the idea would be if you have any questions during the session, you can post them in chat box, or we can take it up at the end of the session. You can even raise hands and we can take up the questions. Uh, Cool. So, and even I know, like as freshers, we know some bit of like what could be consulting, but we might not be really there at it. Like even I was speaking to a cousin of mine who recently got admission into SICC and was like, "Do you know about consulting?" So she was also asking me like, she knows okay, this is problem solving, but what else? So let's see if we could cover those things in this session today. Just a couple of memes probably just to describe how consulting is. You can sort of read through it and take a pause for a couple of seconds. Here basically it tells you what consulting is, giving advice to the Fortune 500 CEOs. There might be something like this that people might think that consulting is googling with extra steps, but that's not really the case. I mean, research is done, but that's not really the case. So now let's move on to what we think what consulting is. So if we are to put it in a very layman terms, consulting is primarily that a client comes to you with a business problem or issues, and you sort of give advice to them. So there are various problems that a business faces, like there would be declining profits, they want to expand to a new market, or they want to grow their products, or they want to diversify into a new set of business. Their share price is falling, their employees are not motivated, so and so on. So there is a list of issues that are there, and they approach the consulting firms to resolve their problems, to provide advice on that. So you can even think of it as that consultant is like a doctor to a business. And why do we say doctor to a business? Because just like how a doctor looks at the symptoms, they then diagnose the problem and then sort of recommend you certain prescriptions and then do a follow up. Similarly, in consulting, clients come up with a problem, we diagnose, we look at the symptoms, and then figure out what could be the best course of action through certain analysis. Now, why there is a need of consultants? That is also a question. Like, why can't businesses do it themselves? So, what consultants do in helping to the client is they provide a different perspective. Consultants are specialized in their own field. Let's say if I am running a business of some retailer, maybe let's say I am uh, Coca Cola. Let's assume that for an example. I've been in the industry so much that I might not be really able to look at the other perspectives. So, what consultants help is provide a third point of view and like a diverse perspective to a problem. That is one thing. Secondly, they are sort of specialized in, let's say, some have specialization in marketing or the operations or finance. So they provide you insights from other industries also, or their expertise or the years of experience. So that is why consultants are important to our business. In general, consulting would relate to anything, like it could be performance management, project operations, strategy, expertise, so and so on. There are various types of consulting also, which we can divide by functions: strategy consulting, management consulting, financial consulting, HR consulting, so on and so on. So there are a lot of ways you can define it also. Like very, one liner problems like our profits are declining. Okay, so what? So we then help them diagnose why it is really happening. They don't really know. While being in the system, they can look at the financials and they see that the profits are declining, but they don't really know the root cause. So at the prima facie, it might sound very easy that the profits are declining. But in a business where there are thousands of things happening, you don't know really why profits are declining. So we solve complex problems not just with the business houses, but now with the governments also, or even certain think tanks, or there are projects on a mega scale. Like, I will give you one of the examples. So let's say, if I talk about Carney, where I was interning, so they are doing a project with Ministry of Road and Highways, and the project is to set up the entire highway route. So they are planning this new highways that are coming. So it's not as easy as problem as we might think it to be initially. The other thing is that you get exposure to new projects, role, and industry. So if you're someone probably like me who doesn't really want to stick to just one particular industry, consulting is really a go-to profession, because here you get to work on n number of industries. Like any industry you talk about, there would be someone who would be giving the consulting services. So be it pharma, be it your retail, food and beverage, or your aviation, or your oil and mining, or telecommunications, any industry and any type of function in it. So if we can keep industries at the column level, and then if we keep roles or functions at the row level, then you see there's like a matrix, and there are a lot of things that you could do. You can talk about finance, you can operations, there's something in marketing, there's something in HR. So there is a variety of functions and variety of industries. And of course, as a profession, what motivates is that consultants are paid really, really well. Like, they're well compensated. There is travel and nice dinners. So of course, as consultants, okay, there is a power cut over here, which should be back. Am I audible still?
Yes, ma'am, you're audible.
Oh, cool. Yeah. So there is travel, there is nice dinners. Basically, when you in consulting, one thing which is very key is that you will have to travel a lot, because the client, which is, let's say if the client is in, you are in Delhi, if the client is in Mumbai, you need to travel there. If the client is in, let's say, some other city, Bangalore, whatever, so you need to travel there, talk to them, you go to the client office, you basically work from the client office a lot of times. When I say a lot of times, it means like 80-90% of the time you're working from the client office, because we are not working on their projects right away. So we want to see what they are actually doing, and then devise our recommendations, devise our strategies. So we kind of make ourselves accustomed to the client office and so on. So there's a lot of travel. And if you like to be surrounded by smart and interesting people, then consulting is a go to profession. Because if you will go to these firms, like be it McKinsey, Bain, BCG, or your Carney, or the other firms like Oliver or the Big Fours, you will see that the consultants are someone, like the best brains are picked in these consulting firms. So you can always be assured to be surrounded by smart people who are talking about business, but they definitely do talk about other things as well. So I hope this gives you an idea of why you might really want to take consulting as a profession. Now, everybody just talks a lot about what is nice. The pros we talk about a lot, but what is not so good about consulting? It helps you to make a decision for yourself. Like, do you see yourself long term in consulting or not? Um, so there are definitely long working hours. I don't know if you have heard about the certain memes, and there's a lot of jokes around this that consultants do actually, I mean, work a lot. There is no consulting firm as such where not putting in long working hours. Then, of course, if you are traveling to client location, you are traveling away from family and friends. So that's there. Then other is that if you are solving complex problems, there's certainly a high pressure, challenging environment, which gives mental simulation to a lot of people. Like we as consultants are there for a reason also in this environment, because we like that mental simulation to work on the complex problems, to work on in a challenging environment where my environment is not monotonous, where things change rapidly. There is an impact that I can see immediately. So there is this environment even so so you, if you will see that a couple of years into consulting, and you will be not even couple of years, even after a year, when you are just immediately exposed to the clients, you will be talking to the CXOs, or even if it is a government client, then you will be talking to the ministers, and I mean, you will be in the boardrooms talking about your analysis and doing whatnot. So you can definitely be assured of being surrounded by nice people, being challenging environment, but it comes with a certain cost, of course, well paid, everything, that you might have to put in long hours, and you will have to travel uh, away from family and friends. But having said that, not every firm is the same, and not every case is long hours and travel. By that, what I mean is that you might be working on, let's say, one project, 3 months, you are traveling every time, let's say, to Chennai from Delhi. But maybe next case is in Delhi itself or something like that. So, not every case is long hours and travel, and not every firm is the same. There are firms who might make certain arrangements that you don't really have to travel, even with COVID, with us being comfortable in a virtual environment right now. The travel part, we try to optimize on the travel part. So there is travel still, but every firm is trying to optimize it, and even long hours. So actually in consulting, it is not even about the project, it is about the days. There could be days where you're putting a lot of hours into the project, but there are days where not at all working or something like that. So it is probably the demand of the project that you work through. And here's some signs that will help you to understand if you really love consulting or not. This I discussed a bit of it in the why consulting as a profession also. It's just these are like the quick signs to help you understand if you could be someone who might at least try out consulting. So if you like problem solving, that is your first indication that in general, if there is something around, let's say your friend is facing something, or there's something in your immediate surroundings, and you try to figure out, okay, how this problem could be solved. We face n number of problems in a day. If you really like doing that problem solving part, or even as kids, if you liked solving certain puzzles, or that provided you a sense of achievement, or let's say that made you happy, then consulting could be a place for you. You're always itching to work on something new. So if I give you example of myself, then I generally get bored if I'm asked to do a routine task. Let's say if you tell me daily that you have to just work on analyzing certain data, or you have to just work on marketing, or you have to just work on certain thing, then I'm someone who will easily get bored and will be demotivated. So in consulting, you always get something new to work on. Like I talked about the industries and the functions that you could work through. Third is if you want to make an impact. So you will see that these days consulting is not just about recommendations, that a client comes to you and you give your advice. It is not just restricted to that. Now clients have become smarter, and what they expect is us to do is even implementation part of it. What I mean by that is you support client throughout their journey. They came to you with a problem, you devise a strategy, you help them with the implementation, and then you actually get to see the impact of your recommendation. So it's a full cycle. It gives you a sense of achievement. Makes you feel that you added some value. So, yep, there is like a lot of chance for you to make an impact, see the results of of the strategies that you recommended. Fourth, which is very important, is you like ambiguity, that you're comfortable being in a different environment every day. Since if you are willing to work on something new, you also need to be willing with ambiguity. So, for example, let's say if today I'm working on pharma industry, and tomorrow I get a project on, let's say, something like aviation industry. So I need to do my KT of the aviation industry in, let's say, in of 3 to 4 days or whatsoever, all those working days. I need to get an understanding of what actually is there in the aviation industry, what is the client's problem. I need to grab those things quickly. Then, of course, you like to be surrounded by smart and ambitious people. So, these are the signs you love consulting. Even we can include one more, which is if you love to travel, that you get to travel. So, there are a lot of flights, travels, nice hotels, nice dinners. For example, when I was interning at Adani, I was staying, while I was in Delhi, I was staying here in Gurgaon at Doubletree by Hilton. And when I was in Chennai, I was staying, when I was going to Chennai for client work, I was staying at Taj. So there is handsome amount of money, good travel, good hotels, and everything. I mean, those act as motivators for us, definitely. Now, some points as to how you can actually build a resume for consulting, and even how you can gauge whether you have interest in consulting or not. Because I understand as freshers, we don't really have a solid idea, okay, this is where we want to be. Or sometimes some people might be motivated, they have seen their cousins or certain relatives or their family members that they are the consultants. They might be impressed by their lifestyle, they might be impressed by so and so thing. So then you might have an idea of what consulting entails for you. But if you're someone who is new to this thing, then you might not have a solid idea as to how you can actually work upon your resume to make it friendly for consulting, or what is there in store for you, or do you actually even have interest in it or not. So your ears at Hindu are definitely going to help you understand this, because there are a lot of opportunities and there are various things that you can do. One is try to work on life projects, or try to attend, be a part of the consulting societies. If I talk about myself again, so in my during my undergraduation, so I did join one of SRC's consulting center. We used to, it was even founded by us only, and what we used to do is we used to get live projects. We used to approach clients, then get projects. So do live, like solving real life problems. We, I think, did some market expansion, and we worked for certain NGO. Once we worked for small startup. So there are things that you could do that helps you to understand, are you really liking it or not, before actually jumping into it in a proper as a full-fledged profession. This helps you to know, are you really liking consulting or not. Then do participate in case competitions. There are a lot of case competitions that happen in and around your DU. So there would be your inter college competitions, or your intra college, or even there are intra university competitions. There are various competitions that are organized by, let's say, the colleges outside of DU also. So participate in those case competitions. They are a really good addition to your CV if you sort of get certain prizes in those winners or whatsoever. Even if you are not winning, then also just participating in these case competitions helps you to achieve a structured thought of thinking. One thing which is really important in consulting is being structured. So the field in itself is very unstructured, as in client comes you with a very unstructured case, and your approach is to make it structured for it to flow seamlessly. Like I said, a very basic example, that will client will come to you just that the profits are declining. That is very unstructured, very ambiguous, very vague. Now what you will do is, okay, profits are declining. Profits is a function of revenue and cost. Now, are the revenues declining or are the costs declining? So you will figure out. You are giving it a structure that profit. Now there is revenue, there is cost. Then in revenue, what other aspects could be? In cost, is it the fixed cost, is it the variable cost? So basically you're providing a structure to the problem, and participating in these case competitions or being a part of the consulting societies or clubs or the groups or whatever is there in your college, that really helps you. The other thing is, once you have some experience with these two, the top ones, then you can find internship roles in the consulting firms. That of course will give you an edge for your final placements. And other thing is that you could network and keep upskilling yourself. Just attend sessions, know more about what's there in consulting, what consultants actually do, and keep upskilling yourself means that keep taking some of the other training sessions, like let's say some strategy sessions on 101 of strategy, or something like if you're not really good at Excel and PowerPoint, it is said that Excel and PowerPoint are the bread and butter of consulting. So look around those things, learn certain tools. There are data analysis tools as well. So just keep upskilling, keep talking to people, network, and understand what you could do to build your resume. I think that's all from my end, and I'm yep open to questions.
Thank you, ma'am. We open the floor for questions. So if you have any questions, you can raise your hand and we'll ask you to unmute. Or you can also type it in the chat box. Does anyone have any questions? Yes, Kavya, go ahead. Please unmute.
Thank you for guidance, ma'am. Actually, I have a doubt that you basically talked about the real side or real companies, like real consulting companies like Kearney. But at Hindu, we are talking about a society. So how much is it? How much how much is it different in a real company and a society? So what similarities and what dissimilarities? Can you talk about that?
Yeah, sure, I can do that. Uh, it's a good question because you want to really understand, are you even getting a flavor of consulting or not. But trust me, the skills you will. So, see, what is happening is, if we have something like consulting societies in college, let's say, for example, Hindu Consulting Group, they might have a set of clients, they might have a set of problems, cases that they get from certain NGOs or startups or MSME companies. So they get those, and you get an actual problem statement, which is also the case in a consulting firm as big as McKinsey, Bain, BCG, Carney, or all those firms. So there also you will get a actual problem statement. Now the difference probably here that lies is that the clients which are with the consulting firms, they are much larger, of course, because they are Fortune 500 companies. Here you get a exact simulation of what is going to happen in your profession. So what how simulation works, that you are getting to work on a similar problem, probably with a different client, where there is a scope or a freedom or space for you to make mistakes and learn. So this gives you a learning opportunity, where you can exactly apply these skills once you go into your profession after. 3 years of your graduation. So here, let's say you will work on, because the problems are ultimately the same, it is the scale of the problem that changes, and even the skills that you apply are more or less similar. Of course there will be certain addition after your 3 years, because you would have gained more experience, there would be expertise of the firm that they would bring in, but ultimately the crux, or like a major proportion of it, would be similar. Does that help you answer your question?
Yeah, thank you.
Nice.
Thank you, ma'am. Yes, Priyanshi, you can unmute now.
Yeah, actually, I have a question that, like, I got that idea of consulting, but what does the society expect us to do in the first, like right now, we do not have a lot of idea about how things work as a consulting firm or a society, and like taking big suggestions or taking advices like for profit maximization and everything is a big deal for a company to have. So how are we capable, or how will be us capable to like give suggestions and advices?
Uh, Probably I can just pitch in my thoughts, and then someone from HCG could add on to it how you guys plan to take it up. Back to my undergrad days. So that's what I was talking about it to Kavya as well. That this is a process that will help you to simulate those things, have a learning opportunity here. No one is expecting you to come up with certain skills. In these kind of societies you get a flavor of what is lying ahead of you. So there you will of course you will have seniors, you will have mentors, you will have all those people who have worked on these problems, they will guide you. This acts as a learning opportunity for you, which you can totally apply going forward. Also, at first everything might sound like I said na ki bahut, it might sound very complex or maybe very easy, but once you are into it, when you research about it, this teaches you how to deal with problems. But yeah, of course, anyone can add from Hindu Consulting Group, like how do they actually plan to take it up.
Yes,
Okay,
ma'am.
so to answer your question, basically we expect that you come to a society and that you're a fresher. So you might not have the actual skills, or maybe we need to enhance those skills. So for that, in the beginning, we take up knowledge sessions where we teach you everything, including Excel, how to solve different case studies and everything. And then again, when we take up a project with you, what usually happens is that we have two project directors who are seniors, who themselves were part of the junior team before and have had a good taste of how to consult these small companies and startups. And we'll also have a project advisor. So throughout the journey, it's all about learning. We teach you on how to consult these companies, how to solve the different problems that they bring on board. And even though it might look like a fact that do college societies actually make an impact. So on our part, a few companies that we have consulted have also gone to Shark Tank India and been funded by the big giants that we have. So that I think answers your question.
And
Yes,
also,
thank you
So
so much.
yes, Priyanshi, we will
Mm.
be talking about all this at length later on, what the Vaishas gave you a gist of. So, yes.
I would just add one thing over here. As first years, nobody is expecting you to have a certain set of skills. Just have interest, just show your enthusiasm, and people will be very much willing to teach you. But don't shy away thinking that you don't possess the skills. This is the time when you are there to possess the skill. And trust me, all of this looks really good on your resume. And not even just it is not even about resume. It helps you to actually learn. uh, but yeah, resume is also important.
Yes, Sambhav, go ahead, ask a question.
So basically, what do you guys look for in students while recruiting in HCG?
Okay, just to clarify, any questions related to HCG we will be taking up at the end. Right now, we are taking questions that you must have had during the presentation that Shrashti ma'am just gave us. So you can note it down and we will answer it at the end.
Okay,
And
all
that
right.
works for you. And Priyanshi, do you have a follow-up question?
Yeah, actually, I want to know how has consulting been for you, if I'm correct, like naming it correctly, ma'am, Shrashti, ma'am. Like, I want to know your experience. How has it been for you? Like, there were times when you felt monotonous, that it's always serious, and you do not have a particular social life, like an event manager, sort of a thing. So, how was your experience all these years?
Yep, good question. So for me, I worked at ZS, then I worked briefly at Carney. So there is actually, contrary to what people say, that there is long working hours, but my philosophy too is very different. It is about work life integration, not work life balance. And for me particularly, I think it is up to one person how they actually keep a balance of their life, in terms of, this is the time that I will give to my professional commitments, to my personal commitments. See, even while I was working at ZS, despite the working hours, despite getting projects, I was still preparing for my CAT. So it's not like that I don't find for a time for myself or don't find time for socializing. I attended a lot of weddings of my cousins. So it's not that way that you don't really get time for your personal life. It is about how you actually manage it. That is one thing. And secondly, in terms of working, it has been really, really great, because in my I think I worked for about 22 months at ZS, and I think I did 13 or 14 projects in 22 months, which is actually a big number. If you average it out, this is like on an average 3 months or something for a project. I solved a diverse set of problems. There was never a monotonicity. Like one day I was working on something, let's say launch a strategy. The other day I am working on figuring out pain points of value chain. The other day I am working on something, understanding the customer behavior. The other day I'm working on segmentation. So it has never been the same. The I always got different projects. Also, there is one more thing, that it was my choice to work on different projects. There could be people who want to uh, build their expertise in a particular field. So it you can actually talk to people, talk to firms, you talk to your managers, that this is what you want to do, and they are very flexible for you to actually chart out your growth area. I like to work on uh, multitude of things, so that is why I worked on various things. But there, I know people who worked on building the expertise in, let's say, only forecasting or only segmentation. But it has been really great experience with travel, with client management, with working on problems, meeting CXOs, and everything.
Okay, thank you so much. It was a lot to take in. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Tejasha, you can keep your doubt, and we will be taking up rest of the doubts at the end of the session. Now, I just wanted to, on behalf of everyone present here, we wanted to extend our heartfelt gratitude to you, ma'am, for taking time out of your busy schedule to conduct such an insightful session and sharing your valuable insights, wisdom, and years of experience in the consulting industry. We truly loved your use of memes to help us elucidate the concept of consulting, and also I'm very confident that those 5 indicators of consulting were beneficial in assisting our juniors in determining their interest in the field of consulting. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me. And if any of you still have any questions, you can reach out to me via, I don't know, email, or reach out to me on LinkedIn. Yep, we can keep connecting. But thank you so much.
Sure, ma'am. We will also share your details with our juniors. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I'll drop it. Hello everyone, we'll be starting with our get to know us session now. So first and foremost, I want to extend my heartfelt congratulations on your achievement of becoming a part of Hindu. It's truly a remarkable accomplishment. Next slide, please, Desh. Did you know that there are a significant number of startups that are unable to access high-end management consulting services due to financial constraints? On the other side, there are numerous college students eager to gain real-world experience Recognizing this gap, our visionary founder, Mr. Keshav Saraf, from the 2019 batch of statistics, established the Hindu Consulting Group. At HCG, we operate as a student-run management consulting society, specializing in offering a wide range of services. Our team boasts over 40 exceptional talented individuals who collaborate to provide you with the opportunity to work on real-world problems.
Yeah. So you must have heard your seniors telling that projects form an integral part of your college life. Almost 20% of your CV is filled up with projects. At HCG, there exists a symbiotic relationship between projects and us. We can proudly say that we have completed 30 plus projects in 3.5 years. So here comes the question, why should you do work on projects? You get to solve real life problems, you get letter of recommendation for doing projects, you get exposure to various industries, you get guidance from industry professionals and mentors. And we have mentors from top consulting firms like BCG, DS, McKinsey, and Shrashti ma'am, who took the session today, is also one of our mentors. You get to network with the founders, as the founders of startups as well as MSME companies. You improve your presentation and analytical skills. Next slide. Yeah. We have completed two of our projects with startups that are featured on Shark Tank India. One was Skinny that featured in Shark Tank season 1, and the second one was OLL, which got funded from Vinita Singh and Piyush Bansal in Shark Tank season 2. Next slide. Yeah. We can go through some of our prominent projects. Gilexai was an IIT Delhi incubated startup that was featured in top 21 in global competition organized by Elon Musk's SpaceX. The second one was Zomato Feeding India, the one and only social impact project of Zomato. We helped them in launching a system for introducing magic wheels in Delhi and Mumbai. The third one is Kutum that raised 26 million funding from Tiger Global. We helped them in market entry strategy. The final is OLA that we helped them design entrepreneurship course and marketing strategy that we recently completed.
Alright, so let me walk you through our journey at HCG. After laying strong foundational bases, we went on to achieve small milestones that had been truly transformative and beneficial for each of our members. Starting with January 2021, we built the first Indian consulting network, which acted as a link between the various consulting clubs of different colleges across India. Next, in February 2021, we planned and launched our first ever case competition called Case Crack, which received more than 200 registrations from students across India. Not stopping there, we started with a research and analytical wing in May 2021, which provides content over various topics and insightful series. In July 2021, finally, we became the society that launched its very first YouTube channel, which has quality content over various topics like internship, placement, guesstimate, case studies, and many other things that a student might be looking up to. Then finally, in December the same year, we went on and became and launched Hindu College's first ever case book that caters to content on various topics such as industry analysis, knowing companies, guesstimate, case interviews, and many other beneficial resources that a future aspiring consultant might be looking for. In February 2022, we launched our Hindu Consulting Summit called Contrivance, which had various competition and saw registrations and engagement from more than 1600 students across India. And not only that, we had some amazing mentors and speakers in the same session. Finally, we had our very first consulting placement bootcamp in June 2022, which served as a bootcamp for students preparing for placement and had esteemed and distinguished panel of professional speakers placed in top and reputed consulting firms. Finally, in this year, May, we revamped our website and launched a website that provides detailed details about our society.
Okay, so as Pranshi mentioned, consulting, cases, research, analysis, all these terms sounding scary, right? But believe me or not, we all have been in your shoes the previous year when we participated in campus case and we prepared for interviews. But at HCG, we are your partners in personal and professional growth. We organize knowledge sessions throughout the year for your upskilling. You will grow holistically in all the skills like strategic thinking, problem solving, research, designing, corporate communication, and whatnot. Last year, we organized 6 plus knowledge sessions along with analytical sessions on Tableau, Excel, research papers, and we also have our first very own edition of Casebook. You can check that out and take it as a guide to interview preparation. Recently, we also introduced our gamified quiz sessions for the skill enhancement of our members, along with ensuring that they also have fun while learning. But I get your question. How do we get started now? So, guys, don't worry, HCG got your back. We have already started with a series of 8-day knowledge series of Consulting Vista that is exclusively designed for your batch to help you dive into the consulting world. This series will be published on our Instagram handles for the upcoming 8 days, and you can follow our Instagram handles to get the daily dose of learning. Moreover, we have a vast collection of resources that keep on sharing with our team throughout the year for their help. Okay, so with our seniors placing top firms like Deloitte, Accenture, BCG, D Shaw, and pursuing post graduation from IIM, members getting internships at Invest India, EY, Boston Analytics, you know that HCG is the catalyst for career excellence.
So here comes the most exciting part and what you all have been waiting for. So let's talk about our recruitment process. We will very first be rolling out our application forms. Then I just want to mention here that we design our forms meticulously to assess your personality thoroughly. The form will have behavioral aspects so that we get to know more about you. Then the shortlisted candidates, we will be inviting them for personal interviews. During interviews, we focus solely on the skills that you have indicated in the form, so you do not have to be scared of anything. Finally, once we have made our selections and you are part of our team, we will be holding an onboarding meeting to get you all set for the consulting adventure with all of us. Next slide, Divesh. Right. So here's a glimpse into our social media. We over these years we have conducted extensive research series, offered a lot of innovative insights, and also delved into areas like industry analysis, company analysis, mergers and acquisitions, OTT platforms, business ethics, and a lot more. You can check out our social media handles for the same. We have also published 3 research papers, and the best part about us that we welcome our team's ideas and we love turning it into reality.
Now we have a video to show you just about us.
It is often heard that consultants need to be an expert with some prior experience, report long working hours, and need to be from a commerce background. But wait, is it really the case? No, these all are the myths. Consulting is for everyone, and you need not to cut on your leisure time. So I joined the society way back in 2021 when HCG was just 1.5 years old. We celebrated every little milestone we hit on the way, and in that process we became a family.
HCG has helped me tremendously with my placements, from engaging projects to various competitions, and most importantly, the PURs is no question. There is no doubt HCG has played a pivotal role in the formation of more than half of this.
One of the life-changing experiences at HCG was bringing the grand business step from blueprinting to execution and finally successful event on the ticket. Those precious smiles of the entire team and the invaluable feedback of the participants was something which will always make me go back to the time, cherish the collective efforts, and always feel proud of myself and the entire team.
Is the screen visible? Okay.
Yes, Devesh, it's visible. We can continue.
Yeah, it's visible.
Okay. So now that you have had a good idea about the society and consulting, and since many of you weren't able to attend the session yesterday, let us quickly solve a case study to give you a better deep down understanding about consulting. For the next few minutes, I will require all of you to be very attentive. And as we discuss this case study in just a few minutes, okay? So the situation is as follows. You are the CEO of a company dealing in dairy products, and the timeline is about that of the COVID lockdown period. So you have to take a decision regarding the operations, keeping in mind that the supply chain is collapsing and the trend of falling demands in all the other major sectors. Now, what is the supply chain? It is a pathway that helps the wheat in the fields or farms come onto your plate as a meal. So now I will want all of you to be very interactive and throw at me all sorts of ideas that you have and give me points on how will you minimize the losses when the expansion in such a situation looks gloomy. You all can
You can
simply unmute
unmute
your mics and
or raise your hands and we can ask you to unmute. And do not worry, there's no right or wrong answer. We are here to help you through the case. This is just to give you a glimpse of how actually cases work. So give it a try. Yes, Priyanshi, go ahead.
So what we can do is like most of the stock that we would have for that timeline can be distributed on the chains which are available, or we could substitute it with some other transports or chains that we can make of ourselves or other brand. We can collaborate with other brand who are facing the same problem and contribute to it.
that is a good idea. Yes, I like that. What if I tell you, I tip you off that maybe we could lower down the production to cut your cost? Okay, tell me, give me advices on how will you cut your cost in the such case. You're a dairy industry. Give me any sorts of example on how will you cut your costs.
Sunita, you can unmute now.
I'm sorry, I'm from a different account, but I had
Yes, no
a
problem.
solution regarding this situation. Instead of focusing on more of the business side of our company, we could more focus on the consumer side, because since in the COVID pandemic side time, it is like people are more inside their home. So basically, the consumption for domestic milk will increase by the direct consumers, because in India, as we see, the consumers like to make their own dairy products. So if we push the sale of milk packets, the ones that we have, that could help us boost our sales more rather than focusing on business side of it, because of slowing down of commercial business activities. And also during the COVID time, people wouldn't prefer eating packaged food more and would prefer making stuff at their home. So that's a sector we could focus on.
I love the way you're thinking. I am just very good. You have been thinking on a very right path. While in such a case, it most likely would look like that cutting your costs or lowering down operations, like all the other industries in the dairy are doing, might look like a feasible solution to you. But the essential part of this question is that you had to observe that milk is an essential product, and the ban on essential products movement and then the supply chain was less. Although there was a collapsing supply chain, it wasn't affected that much. So what if I have an idea? What if we bring upon a supply chain company, management company, and then make use of the huge market that has been left empty by all the other players? Okay, so let me
Also,
now
I
reveal the
think
twist here.
I think we have
we
some response from Kavya also.
yes.
Kavya, would you like to
Yeah,
go ahead?
Yeah, actually, if we are actually I'm outside, so can you please avoid the noise?
Yeah,
So
it's
I
fine.
was
You are audible.
yeah. So actually, I thought that we could tie up with small dairy farmers, because of course at the COVID pandemic, everyone would be have shortage of business, and we could if we could tie up and provide some basic salary to them or basic labor to them, then I don't think that they will वो पीछे हटेंगे मतलब ज्वाइन करने से. और अगर हम उनको साथ में लेके उस पे पैकेजिंग अपनी डालकर उसे क्या कहते हैं मैन्युफैक्चर मतलब उसे उसे अपनी सेलिंग में डालें तो शायद हम ज्यादा प्रॉफिट अर्न कर सकते हैं उस टाइम पर भी.
That is a
Yes,
great
great
thought,
way of
Bhavya.
thinking. Now, what if I reveal to
Himanshi,
you? Oh, sorry, sorry.
Himanshi also wants
Sorry,
to
I
say
can't see the
something.
screen.
Hello everyone, Himanshi this side.
Okay.
According to me, if we want to lower down the price and we can reduce the middleman as much as we can so that the consumers are able to buy in such a pandemic situation.
Great, but lowering down prices for these commodities by a brand name is usually something that does not happen because again they wouldn't when the time COVID pandemic is over and they inflate their prices again, that looks like a very negative part on the side of the company. However, the point that you were trying to highlight is a good one that maybe we make use of all the other direct supply chain methods. So do we have any more
Priyanshi, you
questions? I
can
can't
go
see
ahead.
the screen.
Yeah, actually, like for the time being, till the time we do not have a solution about the supply chain collapse and everything, so we can also cut short the production of the commodities that are not selling or are not necessary. Like for example, butter is still a necessity, but garlic butter is not. So we can also cut short the things that are not necessary in the market during the pandemic period.
Okay, do we have any more before I reveal the
Yes, I
twist
think
here?
Shresht want to add. You can unmute now.
I also wanted to add that it wouldn't be like possible logistically to alter the supply chain for a commodity like milk, because milk is a commodity that is produced like in every corner of the country, and so drastically changing the supply chain is not a very feasible option. And also milk has a drastically like a comparatively longer supply chain compared to other commodities, just because it's like produced everywhere and it's consumed everywhere. So the longer supply chain helps in the distribution of the product like very easily, and it's not like it isn't very practical to cut short the supply chain, I believe.
Makes sense, but also the point where we might think, yeah, agree to your point, but where we might think that the local milk farmers would actually help the case. But look at the psychology of the customers in case of pandemic. Wouldn't you as a customer prefer more to a packaged object than something that has been brought to a farmer just by packets in a packets itself?
I mean, yeah, that is true, and that's like the double-sided nature of it. But that's something you'll have to discuss.
And now all of your suggestions are completely great. I really loved how all of you were going in a good line. And actually, that was the correct line. So let me reveal the twist here. This is not a case study that came into my head out of nowhere. This was something that was done by our very own brand, Amul. So the answer to it lied in the strategic partnership that Amul had with IBM in 2009, wherein Amul sent a hefty sum of 80 crores to IBM to improve its information technology landscape. And also, it made use of all the third-party apps, like all of you said, the e-commerce, Big Basket, Dunzo, and others. And also, it paid it casual workers incentives, yes, more than the usual ones, 100 to 105 25 rupees. And also, it provided them food and stay to prevent the pandemic hitting their industries as well. And also, other than this, I want all of you to take a wild guess on how many liters of milk do you think Amul was producing during this pandemic period? And now I do not want all of you to search it and tell it to me. I actually want you to think of yours.
It should be around
You can
millions
take
of
it
tons.
ahead.
How many minutes?
1.5 crore.
Okay,
100 million
that
tons.
is, I think, I don't think that much milk is, that is the actual consumption of milk in the country, I think. What did I tell you? They produced 8.5 million tons of milk. That was more than any other sector in the dairy. And they also paid 800 crores of rupees extra to the milk producers of India. Now, this is just a small way of unique thinking, how that unique thinking can help you earn fortunes. So, what if I say that the fortune part for you guys was covered by us? We bring to you Campus Case 4.0. Campus Case 4.0 is a stimulating case study event that is exclusively for you guys, and you can participate in teams of two or as lone wolves. The perks of participating in this are we have cash prizes worth 3,000. Also, the winners will get a direct entry to the society, and the finalists would end up getting direct interviews with us. Also, there are participation certificates for everyone. Are you eligible? Yes, you are. Only the batches of 26, 27, we open the opportunity for second years, all courses, Hindu College. And the timelines are as follows. The registrations will be taken up till 20th August 11:59 p.m. That is today, and we might also extend it considering that more of you would be interested in the same. Also, the problem statement will be sent to you by 21st August 2 p.m. and the submission of the case solution would be 23rd August 8 p.m. and on 24th we'll be having the final case presentation round and the results. So Campus Case 4.0 was something that I had participated in my first year, and that was probably one of the best decisions that I made because this helped me kickstart into something that have helped me learning so much in HCG and today becoming the General Secretary of HCG. Also, the Campus Case 4.0 here might signify that this is the fourth edition of Campus Case Challenge. Now, you might have been burdened and overwhelmed by all the other competitions that have been taking place at the same time. Now, we can tell you, you can obviously know from this 4.0 that this was a trend that was introduced by Hindu Consulting Group itself of having competitions for inductions. And that is, I think you all can scan this registration code and also join the WhatsApp group. Also, in case you might think that you're not from the commerce or eco background and you might actually not be able to attempt these, I can assure you in our batch also there were several others who were not from these backgrounds and also attempted and were able to reach the finals. So you need not worry about this so much. You've entered college. I know the first few weeks would be exhausting, but instead you could enjoy the process rather than getting overwhelmed by it. I think that is where we come to the end of the orientation session. Now we can obviously take up as many questions as you like.
You all can raise your hands for any questions and we will take those up.
You may write it in the chat box. We'll take it one by one.
Which I think we can move on to the QR code so that if anyone wants to scan, they can scan it from there.
Yes, just a second.
Okay, so Himanshi has this question between what is the difference between 180 DC and the Hindu Consulting Group? And I guess pretty much many of the people present in the audience would have this question. So just starting that both 180 DC and Hindu Consulting Group are two consulting societies of our college, but the major difference that lies between these two societies are that 180 DC primarily focuses on social projects, whereas we focus both on social and commercial and corporate projects. So we not only take up projects from NGOs and other such organizations that are pro bono projects, but we also take up projects like from budding startups and other things. As Siddharth explained in the previous slides, that we have had projects from Kutum, we have projects from Zomato Feeding India, and also from OLL, and we are currently working on many more projects right now. So that is one of the major points.
The thing that I would like to add is that when you end up spending some time in college and knowing about from your friends also, you might realize that case books are something that can be said to be the constitution of a consulting society. So in our case, we have the first edition of Hindu Casebook that was launched by Hindu Consulting Group. And I'm actually not very sure whether 180 DC Hindu has branch has its own casebook. You can find it out yourself. Other than this, we have had projects that we consulted and those ended up getting funding in Shark Tank India. And the projects that had been previously funded by Shark Tank India had come to us for consulting. So you can imagine what a deal it makes when you, for example, you sit in the interviews and you can tell the interviewer that you had consulted a society that ended up getting funded from Piyush Bansal and Vinita Singh. And other than that, I think the research series that we make, you guys yourselves are smart. Go to the websites. Instagram pages most often look glittery. So go to the websites, find all the resources that you can, and you might realize that we have one of the most extensive databases of research in the entire news circuit. Other than this, I think that's all. The knowledge sessions that will take place are also good and helps us enriching our experience. In case anyone wants to add anything about.
Somebody in the chat box was asking that if they can join either of 180 and HCG only, matlab they want to join one of them. Yeah, you can
So
join.
there's a exclusivity clause between HCG and 180. So you can either join HCG or 180. You cannot be a part of.
Can you repeat what did you just said?
There's
So
an
there's an yeah, sure.
Mudrika, you can take it up.
So there is an exclusivity clause between HCG and 180. So you can join either of the two societies, either HCG or 180. It's like similar as you have in your internship and placement cell as well between Abhyas and Disha. So yes, so you can either join 180 or HCG. You cannot join
Okay,
both the
thank you.
societies. Okay.
Rachit, to answer your question, what's this personal interview? Firstly, don't be scared when you hear the word interview. Whatever you will be filling out in your application form, and if you get shortlisted, so we will be, it's more like a conversation, right? So we will be talking about how you filled your answers in that. And also in the application form, we ask you what are your skills, right? So whichever you fill out, we will be assessing you only on that. So you do not have to be scared of the personal interview.
It's just a one-on-one conversation that we'll be having to understand you guys much better.
Alright, so Yug has this question, then how is the campus case conducted? So Yug, don't worry. Firstly, you need to just fill the form of registering to the campus case. After that, we'll be sharing a detailed case study with you. Don't be scared when we say the word case study, because you will be allotted a mentor, a case buddy basically, who is also going to be from our team only. We'll sit with you, we'll explain you the case study, we'll guide you how a case study is solved, and then you will have to prepare a presentation using your ideas and your thoughts with our help, and then we'll be having the final round of the case study in offline mode. So I hope that answers your question, but in case you have any other thing, you can let me know.
Also, Tarun, to give you an example, like we mentioned, we solved with OLM. I hope you had watched the Shark Tank episode wherein the 19-year-old entrepreneur says that he wants to buy Byju's and an academy. So that was a company that we recently, very recently completed our project with. Other than that, you can always look up to our Insta pages on the companies that we have completed projects with right now. We usually upload it within a week or so after the project is completed. I hope that answers the question.
Also, I just want to add, Tarun, you can also visit our Instagram handle. We post about all the projects over there as well. Now, taking up Rachit's question, what will be the procedure for those who do not win the case? Let me tell you, I last year when campus case was conducted, I was not even in the finalist as well, and currently I'm a junior co member here at HCG. So let me tell you, it's okay if you do not win. It's a great learning process. Secondly, to the procedure for getting admitted in the society is through application form. After campus case, we will be rolling out our application form, and you can fill that. And the procedure that we explained, that after application form, the shortlisted candidates will be invited for interviews, and then the selections will be made. So that will be the procedure. I hope that answers your question.
So taking up Tejas's question, so you mentioned that case presentation. So basically, it's just the conclusion of what you all have gone through in the entire case, and it's just a like you can prepare it on Canva or you can prepare it on PowerPoint, and proper format to be followed is entirely on your creativity. And we will be sharing you the resources from previous year to help you understand better that how did we prepare presentations last year. You can take that as a reference. And for the slide limit, there is no slide limit as such for now. You can just take it up to you. I hope that answers the question.
uh, Kavya, taking up your question. So you're from stats, and let me tell you, I am also from statistics, and we have a lot of people from statistics. We understand that statistics is a bit of a hectic course, but let me tell you, handling a society that is HCG along with stat is not at all hectic, because we have a lot of seniors who help you out a lot throughout the process. It's not that you'll be given a lot of work and nobody would be there to guide you. So we have a lot of mentors also. We have entire seniors also, and everyone helps each other out. So it has never been hectic for me, and I don't think it has ever been hectic for anyone who are currently a part of our society. And also we can also get on, one-on-one discussion regarding this as well.
Sachin has this question that all the participants get the same case or different ones. So no, all the participants get the same case. If you are talking about the campus case, I hope. So all the participants get the same case, and you will be judged on the basis of that only. But we'll be there to help you out, explain you the case, and any questions that you might come up during the time.
To answer Sunita's question, last year we had around 35 junior consultants taken up in the inductions. However, this number is not fixed. It might depend on how your interviews might go. We can end up taking more also, we can end up taking less also. And what is the strength of HCG? Right now we are working at a strength of 40 consultants. And that answers your question.
And regarding campus case and all the details for the case, all will be shared in the document that will be shared with you when you register, and we'll send you the case on 21st.
Also, you can unmute, you not type your doubts in the chat box itself.
It's just an
Directly you
informal
can.
session that we're taking on right now. You can ask any doubts to us related to anything.
In general, also, if you want to speak anything, what you want to learn from the session today, how was the session, or anything that you would like to come up with, we'll be more than happy to have a conversation with you.
Okay, so we are in an informal session now. You can tell us anything. For example, you can tell us how overwhelming the last few days have been for you. How
3
that the
days
society is
spontaneous
coming and giving the
orientation.
orientations.
You can unmute. You do not have to just type. So
Moreover, we have our consultants who have joined us from our team, so they would be also happy to take up your doubts, and you can just unmute and ask any queries that you have. We all will be happy to answer you.
If you have any questions relating to your college also, can you provide Shrashti ma'am's LinkedIn? Okay,
We
I
will
think,
send that on group.
yeah, we'll send that. We'll send that.